Hello, welcome to the video guide to making an application under the 2020 Sports Capital Equipment Programme. The programme funds sports clubs, community groups, national governing bodies of sport, local authorities, schools, colleges, ETBs, and any organisation that can show us that they're not-for-profit and that they have a need for sports equipment or capital works. So everything starts at sportscapitalprogram.ie. That's where you make your application. That's where you find out all the information about the program. In terms of finding out about the program, first of all, any organisation interested must register. There's a guide to registration and a separate video on this YouTube channel. There's a set of frequently asked questions about the program. There's the guide. The guide is probably the definitive terms and conditions of the program, and that's probably the best place to start. I would have that open beside me while I was filling out an application form. That covers all the technical aspects of the program, what we require, how we assess applications, everything like that. There's also information there on the scoring scheme we used for the last round. It's probably not going to change much this time. And then there's also some information on how to get your grant paid. If you have a grant, our privacy policy, and then we have a section on accessibility, on making your gyms accessible, and also information about other aspects of accessibility that's very important to us. So, and if you can't get any help with any of them, you can click here and it'll bring you to the Sports Capital part of the department's website, and on that all that information is there, plus the phone number you can ring for help with any particular county. Okay, so back to here. So just I'll take you through an application now and you can see how it works. So log in. Your username is your tax registration number of the organisation, so you fill that in, and your password. If you've forgotten your password, there's a button there for that. You log in, and then this is the dashboard that allows you to control all aspects of your grants. And here today we're interested in applying for a grant, so click apply for a grant. The only scheme that will be available to you is the 2020 Sports Capital Equipment Programme, and that'll be there until 5 p.m. on the 12th of February. But we would encourage people to start early to give yourselves the best chance of making a good application. So the application form is 6 pages long, and the guide has a section on each page, and it's best to go to that when you're filling out the particular page. So page 1, project details. Here just put in a short title for the project. It's just something to allow you and us to find that application quickly. You may have 5 or 6 of these applications over a number of years, or if you're a local authority or a ETB, you might have several applications of 1 year. So that's just something that'll appear on the dashboard when you look up your grants. So it's useful just to put in something there, something simple to allow you to find the project. So it might be main pitch drainage. Then here you put in an 800 character description of your project, what you plan to do, why you're doing it, and what effect you think it'll have on participation. At the moment your pitch is waterlogged, you can't play it for 3 months of the year. If you had that pitch drained, you'd be able to play it more, or if you had more dressing rooms, or if only you had more equipment or whatever, you could run spin classes or whatever. So spell that out there and the impact it'll have. Here, this is a new question. We're looking for details on social media accounts. Do you have a website, Facebook page? Give all those details there. Your air code, you put that in there. Your address, the air code's not mandatory. You can put in longitude and latitude, or you can scroll in on the Google Maps, find where your location is and just drop a pin. Hopefully in the next day or two that will have a proper satellite image where you'll be able to find your pitch or your shed or your sports centre or your school or whatever. Okay, now down here you tell us what you want to do. Do you want to buy any typical type of sports equipment or project anybody wants can be there, so you put them in there. So just to keep things simple, we're just going to put in sports equipment, non-personal. So by that we mean anything that a person wouldn't typically own themselves. We won't fund football boots, but we would fund gym equipment, cones and ladders for training, portable goal posts, anything that's fixed in the ground we regard as capital, and that kicks in then later in the application. So we'll put in one bit of sports equipment. We're going to put in a cost of that of €1,000, and that's going to be our top priority. And we're going to put in one other, which is going to be some goalposts. That's priority 2. Okay, now then you must add at least one quote to cover the items you put in here. So we'll just put in a quote. You put in the document name. You might say quote for goalposts or quote for gym equipment or whatever, and who the supplier is, and then the quotation amount. Your quote should really cover everything here. If you don't, you won't get funded for it if you don't give us a quote for it. Okay, and then you must upload a quote. You can get that from an architect or engineer in the case of Capital Works, or you can get it just from the internet in the case of equipment. It's only one quote. We look for more quotes if you're successful. Then down here you indicate if your project is a regional project. That will be something like a synthetic athletics track, Centre of Excellence for a sport or for several sports, a GAA Centre of Excellence, a League of Ireland club, a provincial rugby club, or something like the National Rowing Centre or something like that. Then save and next. If you've left any mandatory pages blank, it'll pull you back up and force you to put stuff in. So you put that in, and then you can save and go away and think about it, or you can save and go to the next page. Now on the membership page, you put in what your membership is. You must put something in each of these boxes, even if it's zeros. You must put something in for your membership, adults and children, males, females. Then you put in here if you're affiliated to a national governing body of sport. If you're not, we want to know why. We like clubs, if there is a national governing body of sport for their sport, we like them to be affiliated. It shows child protection, Garda vetting, coaching and everything, standards, governance and all is managed by the NGB, so we like to see that. You must be run on a not-for-profit basis. You must be run on and owned on behalf of the members. That also ties into the not-for-profit element. You must be open for new members. If you charge a once-off annual fee, we want to know what it is. This is a once-off membership fee. This is in addition to membership. This is kind of like a entrance fee. Okay. We need to know what your fees are per year, and then any discounts or anything you give maybe to the unemployed or retired or to children or family rates or whatever. You can give us that there. Then you go on to the next page, which is site management. Here we want to know what facilities you have currently. This will tie into an audit being done of facilities. We want to know who uses the facility, how you plan to manage it, and this is an important box. This is how you intend to encourage disadvantaged groups and people to use your facilities. What are you doing to encourage people with disabilities, maybe new Irish people, travellers, different groups to use your facility, to show that you're catering for groups that often don't participate much in sport and are disadvantaged. Again, save it next. You can also tell us if it's a Gaeltacht area. The next page is own funding. It pulls in across your project cost from page 1, and you must here show that between the money you have in the bank or in a loan and the money you're seeking, you cover the full project cost, that there's no gaps, that if you're applying for €1,000 or €1,500, you better have the balance either in a bank or available in a loan. And if you've got a loan, you must use the loan template we supply on the website. There's a loan offer template you can download. You must get your bank or credit union or someone like Social Finance Ireland or Clan Credo to fill that out. Must be filled out correctly. So then you put in here how much you're seeking. This is the most important box, I suppose, how much you're applying for. For most organisations, that's up to 95% of the project cost, but for local authorities, it's 70%. And then everything you say up here, if you've got a bank account, you must provide a bank statement down here. If you've said you've got a loan, you must provide a loan offer here. So put in your bank details and then put in the amount. It must match the amount up there. The date of the statement, it must be within 3 months of the 12th of February, which is our deadline, our application deadline. So put in the date on the statement and then you upload a document. And save it next. Now, second last page, or sorry, third last page. Planning and title access. If you're applying for capital works, you can give us evidence of planning or evidence you don't need planning. Again, that's covered. There's a template to get your engineer, architect, or local authority to fill out to say, no, this work doesn't need planning. You must fill that out. You get extra marks so that you don't have to supply it. And then down here, we want to know, do you own your land, or do you just have access like on a grace in favour basis from a landlord? And if you own or lease your site and you've got previous grants, you might have a deed of covenant in place. So we'd like to know that there if you have that. So here we're going to say we own the land, and then you have to upload evidence of that. And again, that's one of our templates. If it's just access from a landlord, it's Appendix 4 to the guide, and they just fill that out saying, yes, I know this club's using my land or my buildings. I have no intention of throwing them off it for at least the next 5 years. And that's kind of agreeing to your application. And then you can either provide evidence of registered title if you own your site, and that's a document you get from the templates, and it must be filled out by your solicitor. That's Appendix 5 to the guide, or 5A if you're a school where the Minister for Education owns the land. So you tell us whether it's a leasehold or freehold, and then you upload the document again, that template. And off you go to the next page. So last page of the application form now, evidence sharing. If you're a school, education training board, diocesan trust, or third level college, you must make an application jointly with the local school. With the local sports club or group or community group. That could be a men's shed, an active retirement group. It could be a sports team, an athletics club, whatever. You must include their details though. Then if you're not in the education sector, you can get extra marks by showing that you share your facilities. And again, you put in details here of whatever groups you're sharing with. But if you put in details here, you must then upload at least one license agreement that sets out how you're sharing that facility. Again, the guide has information on what's required of a license agreement, but it must be cover things like who gets to use the facility when, who covers insurance, who's responsible for maintenance, who's paying the bills, what the charges are. Schools need to make their facilities available for at least 20 hours a week outside of class times and outside of term. Then you put that in there, the date of the license agreement, the date it was set up, the duration, or it can just be open-ended, but you must put in something into that field there. The minimum for capital projects is 15 years, and for equipment we expect equipment to last 5 years. Again, you browse and you add a document there, and then save and next. This then brings you to a summary of all the information you've put in so far. You can then print that off or save it as a PDF and email it to other people involved in your group. Say, listen, this is what I'm thinking of putting in the application. You can get some advice on it. And then if you're absolutely happy with all of that, you can press the submit button at the bottom. Once you submit your application, it's final. You can't take it back. But if there is something missing in the application, say you've forgotten to upload a quote or you've uploaded the wrong thing, we will come back to you in as far as possible and say, listen, that quote you provided doesn't cover more than half the stuff you're looking for, or you never provided us with evidence of title, or a license agreement. We want to get that from you. So we do give people a second chance. Once you submit the application, you should get an email to the designated email address saying thank you for your application, and a little page will come up here now saying you've made your application, and that's that. We'll kind of be in touch with you when we have a chance to assess the applications. So best of luck, and if you have any questions, go to the guide, go to the department's website, or you can go to the phone numbers listed here, where you can get details of the people who will help you with your county. Best of luck. Thank you.